In Chapter 6, Frank spends his days at the all-boys school. At school, he has an odd teacher and all sorts of classmates. One of his classmates, Patty Clohessy, is mischievous and convinces Frank to ditch school. Once they ditch to go find food, they head to an orchard where they milk cows and drink it, but they soon get run off by a farmer. Later on, Frank goes home with Patty. The Clohessys live in a wretched condition that is a one-bedroom home. Mr. Clohessy has tuberculosis. The next day, Angela comes to the home looking for Frank and takes him home. In Chapter 7, Malachi Sr. continues to drink away all of the McCourt's money. Frank begins to work with his Uncle Pat where they deliver newspapers. While he's delivering, he comes to the door of a man named Mr. Timoni. Mr. Timoni asks Frank to read to him in exchange for money. Mr. Timoni has Frank read him John Swift's Modest Proposal. Frank's two-wage income soon ends when Mr. Timoni gets sent to a city home and Uncle Pat fires him. In July, Angela gives birth to a baby boy who they name Alphonsus Alfie Joseph. Frank's grandpa sends the McCourt family £5 for the new baby, but instead of cashing it in at the bank, Malachi Sr. spends it on alcohol. In Chapter 8, Frank has his confirmation because he is 10 years old. After the ceremony, his nose begins to bleed. Days later, he is diagnosed with typhoid fever. Frank is sent to the hospital for 14 weeks. There he meets another sick girl named Patricia Madigan, and he also befriends the janitor whose name Seamus. After the 14 weeks, Frank returns home very weak. Since he missed so much school, he is placed back in 5th year with his younger brother Malachi. Frank is embarrassed because of this. He prays to St. Francis that he will be moved back up into 6th year, and soon enough he is. In Chapter 9, many families on the lane are becoming wealthier because the fathers of the families are headed to England to work for the war and send home the money. Malachi Sr. finally agrees to head to England and send the money home. He promises, but he never does. Frank is diagnosed with conjunctivitis and returns to the hospital. He reunites with Seamus, who reveals that he's moving to England. He also sees Mr. Timoni, but Mr. Timoni no longer speaks. A month later, Frank returns home and learns that his father drinks all of the money and is about to get fired. Angela had to resort to going to the dispensary to ask for food for the family. Chapter 10 is the last chapter of Part 2. Angela is very ill and becomes bedridden. Frank goes out and steals food for the family because Angela can no longer provide. He soon gets his brothers involved and they go out and steal from the wealthy parts of the lane and the backyards of people's homes. A school guard comes to the McCourt home because the boys have not been attending school. He sees that Angela is sick and sends her to the hospital, and she is diagnosed with pneumonia. The boys are forced to stay with their Aunt Aggie, who hits them and makes them bathe in freezing cold water. Although their Uncle Pa, Aunt Aggie's husband, is extremely nice to them and gives them extra food when Aunt Aggie isn't around. Frank writes to his father about Angela being sick. His father soon returns home to take care of the boys, but he immediately leaves back to England when Angela returns from the hospital. When Angela is released, she has to go to the church to beg because they have no money.